A three-day conference of India's international movement to the United Nations began on Thursday at GTPL School, Kohima. Speaking at the inaugural program, Minister of Tourism and Higher Education, Temjan Imnalong, who was the chief guest, said the initiative of the IMUN was very futuristic and strategic. He also said Nagaland lacks discourse and discussion. He said the first step to education is to be able to listen, take criticism and be patient. MLA Silhoto Rutso said one should not just hold a degree certificate but should also have the skills to be employed. Guest speakers Deputy Commissioner Kohima Shanawaz C, Vice Chancellor Northeastern Christian University Darlando T. Khating also had conversations with the students. 300 students from different schools of Kohima and Dimapur are participating in the conference.
Today, we are here to celebrate an organization which, up until now, has silently transformed the world, conceptualized and popularized the Indianized version of the modern UN, sensitizing students world over to Indian best practices and knowledge. Not many would know this, but even in our city, IMUN introduced this concept of MUN. Then they went one step ahead, removed the fallacies of UN passed resolutions, some being 1 week for the environment versus 1 day for the environment, which is now actually becoming policy. And most importantly, they got students to implement actionable goals. From academic discussions on global issues to now producing global leaders, it truly has become a movement to unite nations. And you know my favorite part? It is still run by those 16 to 22 years of age. And because Indianness is at the center of the organization, it is only appropriate to start with the lamp lighting. So, may I call upon Minister for Tourism and Higher Education, Mr. Temjan Imnalong, Member of the Legislative Assembly, Dr. Rathore, Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Shanawaz, Professor Darlando, Managing Director of GTPL School, Ms. Henry, and lastly, but most importantly, we have the good fortune of having an integral member of IIMUN here amongst us. Despite 4 overseas conferences being organized in close proximity, everybody put your hands together for none other than Charge the Affairs of IIMUN, Mr. Deepak Maharaj. A decade of youth empowering youth. A decade of learning about the world from the Indian lens. A decade of conferences in 220 cities and 35 countries. A decade that saw 5 crore participants and 26,000 student organizers. A decade which saw the 32 heads of nations, Nobel laureates and Hollywood and Bollywood stars grace the stage. A decade that has now seen once participants and organizers become politicians, businessmen, authors and lawyers. And a decade that has made the world take notice of an Indian organization that was changing the status quo.
IMUN sees multiple conferences happening across, like Anya said, in several states. As a council member, I had the great privilege of choosing which city I get to travel to. And it was an undoubted decision that I chose to come back to Kohima this year. I had the good fortune of visiting the city last year, and I haven't come back to visit the war memorial, though I should. I definitely love the beautiful landscapes and the mountains and how beautiful they look at night. But what brought me back here is undoubtedly the warmth, love, and hospitality of this city. Though I live very, very far away, in a lot of ways, Kohima does feel like home. So thank you for that. So good evening to the leaders of today, and my pranams to the leaders of tomorrow, who will in their journey unite the world the Indian way. Each time I watch this video, the one that we all just saw, I get slightly more enamored, and it takes me back to something that our founder, Mr. Rishabh Shaw, always said, that when he always spoke about the vision of IMUN, a lot of people looked at him, and he was 18 at the time, and he said, and they always asked him, "Ye sab tum karoge?" Which means, you will do all of this? In a country that houses the world's largest youth population, fun fact, we are 600 million people between the age of 18 and 35. That is 10 times the population of France, 2 times the population of the United States, and 4 times the population of Russia. In countries like China, where the average age is 37, and in Western Europe it's around 45, in India we're as young as 29. Yet, when you look at the average age of parliamentarians and politicians in the country, it remains around 54. And the question arises that why does every person who's in charge of a major company need to be the age of 60? So we decided to change it. Like Anand said earlier, we like to change the status quo. So I'll tell you something that makes me really, really proud, not just being on the stage, but what truly makes me proud, is that all the way from these beautiful hills in Kohima to the salt plains of Gujarat, and from the mountains of Srinagar to the backwaters of Kerala, in all of the 220 cities that IMUN has put together concourses in, it has always been young people that have done it. People from the age of 16 to 22. We talk about how to improve multilateral cooperations, and we encourage students to have these discussions. We took 1,000 people to the United Nations when we weren't associated with any travel company. As young people, we did all of this, and people still ask us, "Ye sab aap karte ho?" Because they still doubt that young people can do crazy things. I want to let you all in on a small little secret. The secret of how we are all in this auditorium here today. We're in this auditorium today because of the combined efforts of 2 young people. There's an 18-year-old called Kanak from Mumbai, and a 17-year-old called Srinidhi from Chennai, and a few others across the organization who have put in a great deal of effort and brought us all here today. The efforts of one 17-year-old and one 18-year-old from 2 separate parts of the country have brought us all together here this evening in Kohima, which makes me insanely proud. But still, whenever people ask us the question, "Ye sab tum karoge?" I encourage you to turn back and say, "Haan, hum ye bhi karenge aur bahut kuch karke dikhayenge." For those of you who don't know Hindi, that basically means when anyone asks you, "Will you be doing all of this?" you turn around and say, "Yes, we will do this and a lot more." And you encourage them to come and watch. Because if there's one group of humans, if there's one group of people that can break the word impossible into I am possible, it is young India. And this reminds me of a little Sanskrit phrase that I read a few years ago, which is Paropakarartam idam shariram, which when broken down is Para Upakarartam idam shariram. The purpose of this body is to serve society, to serve others. And if we as young India inculcate that, I don't think there's anything stopping us. But of course things are changing. We live in a day and age where a 21-year-old Arya Ravindran has become a mayor. We live in a day and age where Rakesh Agarwal has founded OYO. And like Swami Vivekananda once said, "Give me 100 young people and I will transform this country."
Well, we all know that to destroy a nation, you just have to destroy the education system. Said by Nelson Mandela. So today, to shape a nation, to shape our state in Nagaland, it is shaped by the four walls of each and every classroom. And I know every student here, you are all good at something. And to know and to develop that talent that you have is your responsibility, but to identify that God-given talent, it's only through proper education. Well, in short, I just want to say, aim for the best, not the second best. Well, to my Naga students, we all know that in Naga families, if we have a strong son, we think it is upright. If we have lots of cultivating land, we think it's upright. But today, the pride of each and every family, community, or a nation is no more in the size of an individual or the content of a granaries. Today, you should be proud when you have a proper content in your book. And that, the element that is inside, it should be proper education, with proper skill, and in any profession or job that you apply for, you should be employed, not just showing your certificates. Well, if you are a science student today, you need a proper scientific knowledge, scientific concept, and problem-solving skills. And one day, who knows, we may be able to develop a cure for cancer, cure for AIDS, or maybe no more medicines to be taken by mouth or to be injected, but just inhale or just apply your skin and you're cured. If you are an art student, try to have the insight of the subject. Try to develop critical thinking skills, but most importantly, have a distinct humanity concept so that you can fight poverty, you can fight crimes and discrimination to make our state in particular and the nation in general a fair and free land. If you are in a commerce line, try to have creativity, new business ideas, but with a proper ingenuity to develop or to bring up new companies, new products, so that you create new jobs and also boost our economy.
nation, as Honorable Minister he was talking about, that our role should be how we can contribute to the nation. I'm sharing a couple of examples. The first example, a gentleman whose father had around 23 companies, but he decided to be a scientist. And today you are having the fourth biggest space research organization, ISRO, due to one gentleman, that is Dr. Vikram Sarabhai from Ahmedabad, who decided to be a scientist, and today it's contributing billions in Indian economy despite of his departure from the earth many decades before. One man can contribute. One man can contribute and secure our borders for the ages and ages, and the name is Dr. Homi Bhabha, whose ancestors were from Navsari, nearby Surat, and he is the man who gave us atomic power, and we became atomic nation. Because of one man, your borders are secure, and none of the nations can ever dream to attack on your nation, because one scientist ensured that you are having atomic power. Dear friends, education is not just to feed your stomach and to ensure that your family members are safe and secure. Education is to ensure that your nation and your next generation get equal safety and equal power, and that is called a contribution to the society. Dear friends, education. In last 70 to 75 years, in the history of independent era of India, neighboring nations, as the Honorable Minister was talking about, disturbed us a lot. Many bomb blasts we encountered on our bus stand, railway stations, and many other places. But we schools, colleges, universities, and society, and social leaders, we ensure that my kids should not learn khoon ka badla khoon, bam ka badla bam. We taught our kids that skill development, education, capacity building will definitely ensure that tomorrow world will be in our faith. And in G7 meet just before a week, you see how world was greeting India. Just because of last 75 years, we contributed in education, we nurtured our youth, we nurtured our youngsters, and as a result, talent hunt. If world wants to go for talent, they come to India, and they want to hit tennis, they go to the neighboring nations. Our education have made us so powerful that in the Senate of US, American senators, they talk that 1% Indians, they are of the total population of US, but they are contributing around 6% in their GDP. That is our contribution to the global market.
So, sir, we can see that when it comes to our new education policy, in 2016 it was introduced after a gap of 30 years. And we can also see that, contribution of education towards GDP is actually very less as compared to other sectors like military, for example, and defense. So, do you think the government is giving enough importance to education?
So definitely the government of India has taken care of opinions of different states. I think we discussed how India is based in university, about how such a unified policy can be implemented in different states with different culture, and how it can accommodate the needs of the children in different nooks and corners of the country. So definitely it has its pros and cons. There was always a debate, the tri-language policy, whether it's applicable in a state like Nagaland. But at the same time, I think the first question we should be asking, whether should we be waiting for 30 years to have an education policy in place, or actually our education should be something which grows along with us, and which grows when we look to the other countries, how they are performing. And the technology, the era of technology, the earlier speaker doctor mentioned about Nandan Nilekani, how he introduced the technology to our lives. So we have to get inspired, and we have to update our knowledge in education every year. We don't have to wait for 30 years for a policy.
So, what is the role of technology when it comes to education, and how do we keep up with the pace in which technology is developing in the recent times?
Now, regarding the question about digitization, that's true. In private institutes have to necessarily resort to teaching online, which is good. And we talk of democratization of education, which means like democracy, equality, equality to access, to quality, to cost. That's
related to democracy. And so we talk about democratization of education. Digitization was one of the so-called answers to democratization of education. So it was fine thing, and it did happen, and many areas did benefit from that. For us also, because of the online openings that we had, we could get resource persons from across the world. We didn't have to have people there, but even across the world, we could get speakers and resource persons and teachers. Even our universities got from across the country, and some from overseas also we got.
IMUN is an organization run by the youth with a very good network and provides the youth with a platform to voice their opinions. The role of youth, which comprises of more than 50% of our country's population, is of most importance in today's time. Young people now and in the future will play a big role in how our world adapts to all the challenges that we face today. With youth comes energy, innovation, and optimism, and this laid the ground for major positive contributions by the youth.
I'm impressed and thankful for such a young organization that dreams, aspires, implements, and upholds the aspiration of the future of this nation, which are all of you that are sitting here and the many millions that are spread all over the country. And I'm thankful to such an organization called IMUN that have come all the way to Kohima, the capital of the Naga people, the capital of Nagaland, and to be here at JioTV School. So, there are not many things to say. But the initiative that you are initiating is a very futuristic, strategic initiative. And what more to see you perform as young leaders, all of you, the students who have come from all around and who are participating in this. And I've come to know that today now is just the inaugural program, and then you have got 2 more days to go. So when you bring forth your suggestions and your aspirations and have healthy debates, I'm telling you that is the first thing to be called educated and knowledgeable. Many of us can get your certificates of your class 10 pass, 12 pass, graduate, postgraduate, and Nagaland is filled with that. The nation is filled with certificate holders, but not educated people. Because today, in this time in society, we see the so-called literate people doing unliterate things and working towards the destruction of one's own life and the lives of the people around you, your community, your state, and your nation. But educated people are those people who do not demand, but suggest. Who do not just be aggressive, but is patient. And when you bring forth subjects of substance to discuss among all of you, not just the naughty things, which are also important as young men and women, but let us not be sarcastic. You can also be naughty, not naughty that wrong way naughty, but naughty like me. But you can bring forth and talk and discuss, and even if your friend who is with you in discussion doesn't agree upon your point, but yet you are willing to listen to him or to her, and yet allow him or her to give his subject opinion, and at the end of the day, you discuss together and bring out the best. Today, what we lack in this country and in our state is that I am right and you are wrong. I am powerful, so you will have to listen to me. Or you are stronger, so this is what you will do. And there is no discussion and discourse ever happening. Our village councils, so-called the very traditional ones, we are hypocrites. We talk only and we do not implement. We only say what is, don't write that tomorrow, huh? We only want to say what everyone wants to say. We don't want to address the things which are needed to be addressed. We don't want to talk about those things which are needed to be talked. Oh, don't talk. It is too dangerous. You will be again pulled, pushed, and don't talk about it. If we don't discuss about it, if we don't discourse about it, then how will it be? So, my dear young friends, I have given you some small examples of the older people that are here, led by all the big people, the Honorable MLA and also DGP and the Professor and DC bureaucrats and all the top people who are sitting here. We lack in discussion and discourse. We lack in being able to say what is our opinion, because what happens is that in our so-called world now, if someone says their opinion, this man is not with me. Oh, he is my enemy. The first steps of being educated people is not by the certificate only that you own to achieve in your subject matter, but to be able to listen, to be able to take criticism, to be able to assimilate everything, and yet be patient enough to let what you are trying to do with all of your weaknesses yet confirm one day with a result that is to happen. Make great use of your 2 days. Make great friends. Let there be no tribalism among you, first of all. No Nagaland is suffering from that. Too long we are suffering. Shape that first. And if anybody say about it, leave it. Don't care. We are one people, Nagas, and then we are people of this state and of this nation. So keep that in mind. Number 2, don't be afraid to say what is in your heart. Don't be conscious about what you feel that you need to say, but say it with respect. Say it with humility. Say it by willing to listen to the other also, when the other person says. And don't speak behind in the group. You know what happens during young times? Sabi ko, ito padali misa-misi ko among your peer friends. Don't do that. Learn to accept everyone's thought process with dignity and with acceptability. Then only you can make sure that you are also accepted among all.